Welcome back, everybody. I am Billy Liucci.
And I'm Amanda Atwell.
And we are
moving goalposts.
We're going to see who's moving what today, because this should be a fun one and a good one.
You have some goalposts you have moved.
I moved them. I was wanting the goalposts moved at halftime, and I got it. So I was happy with the result of that one. You were, I think, probably along with everybody else, in burnt orange. Hopeful.
Probably the worst day of college football ever.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Recent memory.
I was going to say y'all were hopeful through three quarters.
I don't know if I would say hopeful is the right term. I mean, I honestly, I tweeted it at halftime. I truly figured y'all would have some level of comeback. I didn't know what kind of comeback that would be, but I didn't see you guys playing like that 2 halves straight, whether it meant you put together a better looking half of football or just went on a complete run in the second half. Obviously, the latter happened, and I guess I can predict things now, so you're welcome.
You're getting better at the predictions. You also predicted 11-0, so you almost. There was a point there that I was like, when you and Peyton were just barraging. I was getting hit with a barrage of. Y'all were just having a field day. It was definitely.
We didn't do it publicly though.
No,
so
you got me.
Nice.
You got me on one, but it was the text, but it was a premature. And we can visit my text later because now you have it in writing, but. It was a premature victory dance on my head, and that not only y'all two were taking via text, but the whole country was taking at A&M's expense and thoroughly enjoying it. It felt like. I mean, you couldn't blame them at the time.
It was the weirdest half of football I think I've seen from any team thus. Like. I don't mean this to insult Aggies because I'm sure a lot of them agree with me. That was the worst half of football I've seen from a really good team all season.
That's a good way to put it. It was inexplicable how bad it was.
It was Casey Concepcion dropping balls that were directly in his hands. It was Marcel Reed throwing stuff to the dirt that you haven't seen him throw all season. It was just, and then it was like, you look like you get some momentum, interception.
Yeah.
It was like everything that could go wrong went wrong. And like I was in shock the entire half.
Honestly,
I mean, I'm not even trying. I wasn't even trying to be a hater. I was just like, what is this? Like, and then obviously the second half, I had to stop watching in the second half because I had to go to a Friendsgiving thing. And then I look at my phone and I'm like, oh, okay, they figured something out. I guess I posted on Twitter. I was like, I would pay good money to hear Mike Elko's halftime speech. And I would very much love to pay good money to hear what he said in that locker room.
I also heard that Marcel had a hell of I wouldn't call it a speech, but a hell of a few words just before they left that locker room to take the field. So really interesting stuff we'll talk about here in a minute about A&M record-setting comeback. Really, I don't think it was – some people it was setting in. The reality was if you'd have lost that game that way to that team, you presented the unthinkable from happening, which was you were – dangerously close, Amanda, potentially a 12-yard, 4th and 12, 14, 15-yard scramble by Marcel Reed where he made 2 guys miss away from somehow going from a playoff lock to having to win in Austin to get in.
Or a field goal, like if Beamer decided to take a field goal instead of go for it on a 4th down.
It was that close. That's a great point because there were so many plays. It was that had that guy stood up instead of diving on that ball and been able to scoop it, that might have been 95 to the hat. Like you were you were jeopardizing everything. Now, not everything. You would have had to have won in Austin. Now you're locked in. A&M's a playoff team for the first time. The question is whether they're going to, win an SEC title, undefeated regular season. Have a first-round bye or host at Kyle Field. That's kind of what's at play.
Texas, I think you'd rather have that first-round bye.
I do, too. I know people want a playoff game at Kyle Field, but can I say something before we introduce La Casa? And then we talk a lot of Longhorns and Aggies today and a ton of college football. I'm going to say this. For Aggies, I know you want to play here again this year besides Samford. I know I can't imagine a December playoff game at Kyle Field. And we may very well get that. But here's the thing. If you beat Texas, you're probably not getting that. So if you want to win an SEC title, you're definitely not getting that. But to host a playoff game, there is a world where the Aggies could go 12-0, lose to Alabama or Georgia in an SEC title game and fall out of the top 4. I don't think that'll happen. So it could, but more than likely to host a playoff game, you have to not beat this woman's team that you all listen to and are waiting to see how I do today against her, how she does following this loss. We will have to lose to Amanda. We will have to lose to Texas. We will have to lose in Austin. So
why don't you just let them have some joy instead of thinking about that too much yet?
I just don't want.
I'm sure the battered Aggie syndrome creeps back up and now for plenty of Aggies.
I just don't want Aggies to get too keen on the idea of hosting a playoff game because it would be amazing. It would be awesome. I think you want to buy.
Coming from experience, just focus on the happiness you're feeling right now and don't look too far ahead. Just focus on being happy, because when it comes to the point where you've gotten, not that it's going to happen, not that you're not going to win the national championship, but when you get to that Cotton Bowl and you end up losing, you're not going to be happy. So focus on enjoying the happiness while you have it and appreciate having a team that's doing something most Aggies have not seen. Well, I don't know, when's the last time this happened?
I would say all.
Before I was born, I think. 1992. When's the last time A&M went undefeated?
Yeah, 1992. But it's different. This is
the year before I was born.
Yeah, and I was the year I was about to go to college. Here's the thing: we're not. I made the old joke today.
Yeah, you did it to yourself this time.
Yeah. So here's the deal. It's never been like this. So for the way you said that was, Aggies haven't seen this since. Even though 92 was great, there was no playoff. You were in the Southwestern Conference. It was reality was it was a regional conference. It just wasn't a national championship. There wasn't a national championship chase that you were truly a part of. And regardless of whether A&M wins it, loses in the championship, or doesn't win a playoff game, you are a part of the national championship race, and you have been all season. So this is, Amanda, it is uncharted territory. Texas has done it.
Even making it is something to be proud of. I mean, Texas didn't get the result they wanted to in 2023 when they made it playing Washington, but that was the happiest season I have had since, I think, the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So it's probably the happiest season since we won the Sugar Bowl and Sam Ehlinger did his "We're Back" that I think cursed us against Georgia forever.
You know what? Let's talk. Let's get into all of this. We have so much.
We got to give our LaCasa a shout out, and you also have to. I also have a story to tell you about an unfortunate experience this morning.
Well, shout out our friends at LaCasa Tequila.
We drank plenty of that last night. We needed it, so appreciate it.
I did too. I just realized you and Peyton were together, probably side texting me, like as in side by side, laughing at each other's jokes. But I drank some La Casa last night. I most certainly did. After that game, I needed it. We
needed to come down from that.
It was an unexpected, joyous
I want to read some
night.
of your text messages from while that first half was going on, because I feel like they were pretty great.
Well, be careful when you do that.
Yeah, I'll make sure to leave out any choice words. Mm-hmm. I think you had one that I thought was really funny. Well, one, you sent this lovely picture of yourself looking at the college football playoff trophy.
Oh, yeah, that was the best. I was like, that thing's getting away from us.
And then, what did you say? Oh, you started talking crap at one point.
Well, I did make a guarantee, didn't I?
You did make a guarantee.
You can read that. You can read that.
Well, Peyton said y'all are throwing the game. You have to be throwing the game. You said we're going to beat y'all, so that's what keeps me sane. So I'm saving that one for later.
Okay.
And we'll document that. And okay, yeah, this one you sent, and I knew you were down bad. This is a nightmare.
Yeah. Listen, it was the nightmare. You mentioned it earlier. Forget.
Oh, and this is disgusting. Those are only words you could get out for a period of time. This is a nightmare. This is disgusting. Don't start.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. By the way, This is why, and we were joking with one of our work people this week. This is why I don't generally tweet during games. And even when it's going well, I try not to tweet. Now, after the game, if they win, I'll fire off a lot of stats and tweets and, commentary. But
post-game wrap stuff.
But during, did I think they were going to come back from 27 down? No. Did I think they were going to come back from 20 down? Yeah. Did I think they had a chance to come back from 27 down? I actually did, because in my head it was just outscore them by 14 each of these next 2 quarters. And you can do that to South Carolina because they're not good. So A&M played so poorly. I've never seen as bad a half, like you said, from a good team. 2 missed field goals, a dropped touchdown, 2 red zone turnovers, and then a third one that you turned over in your own red zone that gave them a direct 7 points that, they scored on the play. And it was just every single thing that could go wrong did. And to give up 10 points in that final minute of the half, I did think, that's probably going to do it. But it is still South Carolina. You do have a chance. And
I could say the same thing about a game that Texas had earlier this year that ended in a very similar way that was on the road.
Yep. And I'm with you,
It's
though.
still Mississippi State.
And so it led me to an unexpected moment there in the second half where we said, me and the group of us, we had a couple of friends from Barstool in town, one of my buddies from former Cowboy up there in Dallas who had actually been to one college football game his whole life. And all my guests were sitting there kind of like, oh, it was a cool environment, though, at least. The intro was all, and you're just like, God, you guys are missing. And then that happens. So we said, let's go out. We're going straight out. We're not going home. And so it was a 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. job. There was a lot of La Casa consumed. Thank you, Drake Screws
Right,
and
you
company.
look as awake as you do right now.
Well, I've got my little medicine ball here, and no, I do not have some La Casa reposado in there like maybe some people do the day after drinking. So it was a fun time. I noticed a lot of Georgia and Texas fans were having fun in some Athens bars watching the game, and I get it. I've been on the other side of that. We all have. We love seeing our rivals.
Oh, you loved hate watching that Mississippi State game until the end.
Oh, I loved it so much, and then you took it from me. But yeah, no, go get you some La Casa. We're going to need it. Every Aggie and Longhorn, buy it up and get ready to consume quite a bit of it the day after Thanksgiving. Should be fun.
Yeah,
Except my younger fans at Kyle Field, all the parents and who had the kids during the day yesterday after the game coming up, and they listened to this podcast, Amanda. They listened to my Sunday podcast. So whenever the kids 8, 10 years old and under tell me they like watching it, it reminds me we sometimes need to be careful. So I'm not fully promoting it if you're under,
Yeah, drink responsibly if you're
under 18, chill. But over 18, La Casa.
Oh, you're encouraging La Casa for over 18 underage drinkers?
We're not. You're right. We're not in Louisiana. My bad. I retract that statement.
Wrong state. Over 21, drink responsibly.
There you go. Well, let's talk football, Amanda. Let's get into this because, first of all, what happened to you on your Spotify?
So I don't know if y'all have ever done it so before the game yesterday, I'm watching the game with Peyton and my brother and his his wife. It's hard for me to say. So they just got married. And so we decide to play Texas Fight over Spotify right before the game. So I say, Alexa, play Texas Fight. And let's see if she plays it. Okay, she's not. I said it quite enough. And so she plays Texas Fight by the Texas Longhorn Band. And we sit there and we do it. And you know what's queued up right after that song for some odd reason? The Aggie War Hymn.
Wow.
And so I'm like, stop, Alexa, stop. Stop. So Alexa stops. I'm like, all right, good. Get into my car this morning. I'm tired. I'm not in a good mood. I'm going to have a brunch that I committed to that I really wished I hadn't committed to. Spotify is blaring. And you know what blares in my car? The Aggie War Hymn.
Wow, I love it. I love it.
I was like, what did I do to deserve this? What did I This is insult to injury at this point.
You know what you did? You picked on your friend and your podcast host all summer, and it was just finally. It was just a little moment of payback. Maybe I somehow had control of the Spotify playlist for a minute.
I mean, we changed it to Taylor Swift real quick, and we were in business.
All right, we've talked a little Aggie, so let's start this off with the big game in Athens, Texas versus Georgia. God, I'm just going to tell you, I was watching the game, right? We're at a bar and I'm watching it, and I've got a good setup to where I'm being able to pay attention. And I see, I see the touchdown pass from Arch there to cut it to 14-10. And it felt like Georgia, I felt like I'm watching like Georgia's better, and they've had multiple chances to push this lead out, and they haven't. And Texas is one play or one drive away from being right in this thing and maybe having a chance to actually steal it. And Arch throws that TD. Great strike there in the red zone. And I go, man, they screwed around and let him hang. And then I'm watching everybody get fired up before the fourth quarter. And I wait in the line for the bathroom, and I hear some people start cheering. Same deal we were just talking about. I look, it's Aggies. I said, what happened? They're like, Georgia scored. And then I felt like by the time I waited in line, went there, came back, we said, hey, we're going to go next door. We get to the place next door. Right when I get there, Georgia scored. Georgia. No, I come out of the bathroom. They kick the onside kick, recover it, and then by the time I get back, go next door, it's 28-10, and we're watching them score to make it 35. So I want to go into that fourth quarter in a second and talk about the impact of it. But for now, tell us everything about what you think of this football game, the 35-10 loss in Athens.
Yeah, obviously very disappointing. Going into this game, I think most Longhorns were kind of prepared, like this is going to be a mountain to climb, and you are going to have to climb a mountain to win in Sanford Stadium at night against a team like Georgia that's peaking right now. Like, they look better than they have all season right now. And I think you saw that last night. And Kirby was in his bag, as he is when he plays Texas every single time. He has got Sark's number, and it's annoying for us Texas fans. I feel like it's got to be more annoying for Sark. Like, it's got to be they're friends, so it's got to be a little embarrassed by that. I would be as a competitive person. But this one looked like it was anyone's game going into the fourth. Obviously, Georgia was playing a bit better, but then there were a lot of situations where it was like you said, Georgia, a couple of failed opportunities. Texas had a lot of failed opportunities as well. Arch wasn't the problem here. He was hitting players in their hands. He was hitting Wingo in his hands, dropped. Yep. There were a bunch of just really, and I think a lot of people misinterpreted this when I posted on Twitter, like saying penalties were killing Texas. It wasn't that. Yes, Georgia had no penalties called against them I think they had like one or so. I don't know how many it ended the game with. But our friend Rob put it best. You can't sweat over that anymore, because it's just going to happen in this league at this point. These games are not evenly called. We've seen that. Every team has seen that this season at some point. Texas was killing themselves with their own irresponsible penalties. They were killing themselves jumping off sides. They were killing themselves with just really undisciplined football. Something that has kind of plagued this team on and off throughout this season is undisciplined football. And I think you can look at this is a much younger team than what Texas had last year. And we were hoping, a lot of people were assuming moving into the season that Sark would have them prepared, but you saw the penalty issue last year as well. You saw the penalty issue last year. You saw the red zone issue last year. And it's these issues that Sark has just not seemed to work out of however he has been coaching this team. So penalties, what are about my other notes that I have?
Is there Sark? I'm going to be careful how it's not because I'm scared of you, but I'm going to say this to say it the right way that I want to, because I don't want to exaggerate. I don't want to make it sound this guy should not be fired. People should not want to replace. He's done an amazing job there, right? Is there some level of Sark fatigue, not in terms of the overall, but just these certain issues that I feel like the Texas fans have felt like have held him and the program back the last couple of years from the mountaintop, mind you, not back from being good. And then this year, the fact that you've got a hell of a mountain to climb now, like you used that phrase earlier, to get into the playoff in a year when you're preseason number one. And it goes back to some of the similar issues. Like, I just get a little bit of a vibe that it's not move on. That would be stupid. If any Longhorn felt that way, it'd be dumb.
I mean, they're out there. They're always out there. I mean, watch Mike Elko. If he happens to lose to Texas, there's going to be A&M fans. Get rid of him. Like, it's dumb. It doesn't make any sense.
I will say this. My number one point that I was so mad, and y'all sent me a tweet about it, and you can't.
The extension.
Yeah, and you can't, like, argue it in that moment, and that's something you and I always talk about, because you're
especially
like,
when like Penn State's knocking. Of course, he wanted to make sure he stays.
Yeah. So, but that's one of those things you always get me on. Is it's like you're just going to argue without thinking. Like, normally that would be a good argument, but right now, today, in this moment, you need to just take it and not. And that was that tweet about Elko. Somebody said this would be the most Aggie thing ever, and it was announcing the contract and then this happening. But
wasn't it leaked?
It was leaked. So that was my thing. Like, you want to fight it, but you go, God, I just can't even say anything here. Now you can. Like, it wasn't like Mike Elko an hour before the game was sitting down agreeing to terms. It wasn't like,
and like doing a photo shoot with like signing his extension.
Yeah, and it wasn't like it wasn't like that A&M released it. In fact, I do know they were going to release it later that day, assuming you won the game. It doesn't mean it wouldn't have happened, but then it would have just been kind of, it got out there. It was going to be released later that day. Obviously, Ross Dellinger's he's one of my favorite journalists out there. I think he's one of the absolute best of the last 20 years when it comes to covering college football and that moving target. It's been so crazy. So he got that. He didn't get it from A&M. It wasn't told to him by Mike Elko. Those things come through the agent side, they come through, And so I just thought, I was kind of like, oh, this is unfair. Like, they announced that they get the guy signed, and everyone was trying to tell Aggies that Penn State was coming and they're not going to hang on to him. And then it just would have been so painful to see them lose that game because of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idiots are out there. You'd be an idiot not to want Sark and Austin. But my question to you, though, is there frustration from the standpoint of kind of how the Longhorns are falling short so far this season?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest frustrations is that, like, one of our John Tweet Sports, he's a Georgia guy, real, like, I've had a pleasure with most Georgia fans this week. They're a fun group, but he pointed it out, and he's pointed it out time and time again this season, how he thinks that Sark's being held back by not wanting to give up his play calling duties.
Yeah.
And at first, Sark, he's proud. That's what he was hired for. He's a great play caller. But it's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, something's not working here. You've done a great job here. Nobody can deny that. You've done a great job bringing this program from where it was, whether like this season, it's not the last two seasons, but it's not a complete abject failure. You've done a good job bringing this to a program that can compete at the SEC year in and year out, not just getting obliterated in the SEC like many people wanted to predict. The person I'm looking at, coming into the SEC. Texas competes in the SEC. But if you want to get to that mountaintop that so many Texas fans expect and just like have wanted since 2005, and it hasn't worked especially with the program you had last year, how solid of a group you had last year, you might need to give up your pride and reconsider potentially hiring a play caller. Now, that's not something you do mid-season.
No.
That's something that needs to be assessed in the offseason. But that would be my biggest thing. And then also, he's been very, very hell-bent on building players within the program and not relying as much on the transfer portal as a lot of other schools, which I think is great. You want to retain your culture of kids who have gone to the school for so many years and are really bought into it. But at the same time, when you have these position groups that are desperate needs, like you can refer to offensive line this year, you can look at our running back room this year. Last year, it worked out where you went out and got a stud like Matthew Golden. He worked out immediately. You had an amazing receiver who was drafted. Was he drafted first round? I can't remember what round he was drafted in.
Yeah.
But that worked that year.
Yep.
I mean, he got Emmett Mosley this year, but that wasn't quite the level as what Matthew Golden panned out to be.
I think, Amanda, you're on something there with that portal thing. I think Sark overestimated, and coaches have done this. It's not, I mean, but you pay for it. Like, he overestimated what he had on campus, misjudged it, misjudged what they needed at the skill positions in terms of, like, to me, when I watch Texas play, like when I watch A&M play yesterday, right? They were doing, and I know it's South Carolina, but they've done it to Notre Dame. They've done it to everybody. Those receivers, you mentioned Golden, right? Those receivers are explosive. Like, Mario Craver's got some Xavier Worthy to his game.
And Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm was a tight end that Texas lost last year. Just incredible tight end that we could rely on the position of tight end. The tight end is pretty much non-existent this year at Texas.
Yeah, and they added injuries. So, like, I look at it like this. Like, when I'm looking at A&M and Craver's banged up this week, and Ashton Bethel-Roman comes out as wide receiver 3 and goes for almost 150, and there's a freshman named,
Did he get hurt?
Yeah, but he came back. And then Isaiah Williams, who hadn't played much at all this year, scores a touchdown, makes a couple of huge catches. There's depth, there's speed, there's playmakers. Sark looked at all that, and he looked at that offensive line, and they just missed. And it happens, but they just missed in terms of what they thought they had versus what they really needed. And I think, it's like A&M next year. They're going to have to go and look at their offensive line and say, we lose too much in 1 year. We have to supplement that with portal guys, or we're going to take too big a step back, like what's happened in Austin. So I think that probably post-mortem will be the biggest adjustment.
Yeah.
And again, the season's not over. It certainly probably feels like it today. But if he only focuses on that, I think you nailed it. You can't have the issue that Jimbo had. And Sark doesn't have that, but if he sticks to it for too long, if this tenure doesn't produce a championship, if it doesn't succeed, I mean, I think you already call the hire a success, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's definitely better than it was when we were losing to Kansas.
Yeah, and it's way better.
Not many complaints there.
Most teams, most fan bases would trade for it. We get that. But if he ultimately gets fired in 3, 4 years, whatever it is.
Yeah, it ain't happening in the next year or two. I just don't think that's
I don't either. And I don't
possible.
at all. But if it fails, my point is, like, when he gets fired, I believe you would look back and go, it's because he never gave up play calling. So I think the sooner he recognizes that and does that, the better. It's still going to be his offense. It's going to be his brainchild. But let someone else have someone that's truly good and legitimate at that to bounce stuff off of. And when you get in the red zone, it's what Elko's doing defensively.
I think he has a chance to be a really, really great head coach. And he has been a good to get a program that was in the despair level of Texas and had just such a broken locker room when he came in under Tom Herman, to get it to where they were prepared to come into the SEC and play in the SEC championship in year 1. That's not a low feat. So I don't have any doubt that he can turn the ship, because the ship is in a much better place than it was when he first came in right now. The ship just has a little leak right now. It's not completely taking on water quite yet. And I think that's a leak that can be easily patched. It's just in the offseason. And there is another thing. The coaching carousel is much different this year than it was last year. Yeah. So that could also mean the portal's going to look a lot different this year than it was last year. There might end up being a lot more available in the portal this year than there was last year. So that's something to consider too. And if he's not playing in January, he might be able to look into the portal a little bit easier this year. So
that portal point is a great one, not just for your fan base, but for mine and everyone else as well. You wrote here, Sark needs to figure out how to prepare for his team for these games. And it's a great point when you look at his
And then he missed the WTF was that onside kick.
Yeah, well, first of all, what that was is called Kirby Smart with some real cojones, kind of like Elko showed a week ago with that fake punt.
Yeah.
Because the flip side, if you don't get that, is you just went up 21-10, and you could just kind of try to just kind of smother them from there on out, right? But
who expects that?
From Kirby?
I can just you just have to tip your hat to Kirby at that point. Like, got us, great job.
You know what? You said he was in his bag, and I think it's personal with Sark. Like, you can be friends and it be personal. Like, you and I are friends. We are competitive as hell. Like, I've always joked, like, people see this, they don't even know the text conversations and debates. It's like we're two different and very similar people in that we both won't back down. We're competitive. Both our other fan bases have a hard time wrapping their heads around that. But I think it's very personal with Kirby. When you hear him say things like, well, we get paid, our guys get paid too, but you can't.
He's made some personal, like, biting comments
about the
Texas game.
physicality. You know, it's almost like he's saying they're not physical, we are. And you feel like, is that directed at, like, losing Justice Terry to them? Or, you know, like, they're friends, but they can also be annoyed at each other, and they could also want to kick each other's ass. And I think Kirby, also remember, defensive assistant under Nick Saban, offensive assistant under Nick Saban. Like, I think there's definitely something there where Kirby takes a little extra pleasure in not just beating Sark, but beating Texas. And again, if I'm a Georgia fan, I love that crap. If I'm a Texas fan, I'd probably be getting pretty tired of it by now.
I mean, at this point, it's one thing if it's Georgia. It's another thing if it's like, this is Mark Stoops talking about this after a game where we lose to them on the road. Yeah, it sucks either way. Georgia looked incredible. You can't deny that.
They look really good.
Texas hung in there the first 3 quarters, and it looked like a really good game. But it was that onside kick away from slipping away. And that's what happened. So, I mean, hopefully it's a learning lesson. There's been a lot of learning lessons this year. But at this point, it's like, is it going to be a learning lesson, or is it just going to be a learning season and just hanging up at the end?
Well, look, and like you said, he needs to figure it out. That record against top 5, top 10s is not good enough for how good the team has been. You get what I'm saying? Like, the team has been better than to have that record since he's gotten them good. So, I thought that was a huge game for Sark and Texas.
You can't summit the mountain if you're not beating the teams that are also at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
He's beating the teams that are at, if you're climbing a 14, or he's beating the teams that are like at the 7,000 elevation and the 8,000 elevation. But once he gets up to that 12,000 elevation, he's getting knocked off and his oxygen tank's getting cut. So it's for anybody who hikes.
I know the feeling. First time I went up that high, I was reminded of my age.
Your lung capacity?
They were making fun of me up there. There was a group of people like your age, and it was a wedding, and we did a hike, and that documentary, the Johnny doc, was coming out. I heard them whispering and laughing, and I may have told the story before, but I was like, what do y'all, I know it's about me. What is it? You know, we're like, they go, oh, nothing. They told me later, before the documentary came out, they were saying that it was going to be, they were going to kill me on the hike, and it was going to be an in-loving memory when it actually came out that August, you know, and so one of them whispered to the other, in loving memory. I'm like, that's not funny, guys, because it is getting hard up here. But
you can just imagine you at the top of a mountain.
Oh man! But I love. But by the end of the trip, I was smoking everyone. I just want to add that.
Sure.
So listen, can I bring something up? This is the defense.
You want to bring something up?
It's the
defense.
The defense. Yeah, I just want to. So everybody wants me to do some sort of victory lap. I won't do that before the game.
You can't do that before the 28th.
I know better, and I still think this is good defense.
I'm telling you from experience, it's so much better if you wait until after the game, because then if you win,
it's
great.
Glorious.
You can have your victory back. If you lose, there's a little bit less of a bruise there. There's less people bruising your ego.
Well, so we had that debate about the elite versus non-elite defense, and what I said was I thought for them to get to the playoff, right? This was a couple weeks ago. They had to be elite on defense, not good, but elite. I think they got away with 3 elite quarters and 1 bad quarter against Vandy. They got barely. And look, you hold Georgia to 14 points through 3 quarters, you're playing really good defense. But 35 points to the Dogs, 31 to Vandy, 8 to Mississippi State,
It's a 4-quarter issue.
Yeah, this defense right now, it's not elite. It's not. No one would say it's bad, but you needed it to to beat Georgia. You needed elite, and that was my whole point that day. And I think, as everyone pointed out, it's like me and you just like to argue so much that sometimes we don't. My point was, I'm watching it going, I think they can be elite, but they're not right now, and they need it. What did you think? What are your thoughts? Because you mentioned to me about the secondary and
I think the secondary is their biggest issue. I think the defensive line, there are some busted run plays, but at the same time, I think the
Georgia can really run the football. They can really run the football.
That's probably the best run game that Texas has faced thus far, and that wasn't my main issue. My main issue was just the lack of communication that continued from Vanderbilt. And I know Michael Taft has been out however many games, but and I know it's Sanford Stadium. It's super loud, but if you want to win these road games in the SEC, those can't be excuses. You have to know what you're facing going into it. They were 3 feet off the player when they should have been right on him. It was just the coverage that you need wasn't there to play at an elite level. And my point with that whole argument is my concern heading into and I was trying to convince you of, if you're concerned about anything for this Texas team, it shouldn't be the defense.
Yeah, you were saying that. It should fine, be the offense,
based on what we've seen, what we had seen to that point. But at this point, the offense has taken a bit of a turn, which is weird. Everybody thought Arch was trash. Arch looked like the best player on that field to me yesterday. He was hitting the players he was supposed to play. He was leading the team when he needed to lead it. He was doing the best visibility. The O-line did look suspect a couple times in there again. But, you are playing Georgia versus playing Vanderbilt, so it's a little bit different of a defense you're playing.
I will say this about the 10-point total, right? You go look at what Georgia's given up in games this year, and Texas did less than most of their opponents have. That's that's factual. But it was
they had them on their heels.
Yeah.
After that, and if the game continued like it had the first 3 quarters, both teams would have given up less.
Yeah, it was a dogfight. It was a dogfight.
And then at the end, it was just couldn't get. And then they lost the possession with the onside kick, so Arch didn't get another shot at it. So, the secondary has looked very uncharacteristic. I can't talk, and I'm sure some people are going to point out that I said a wrong word.
Uncharacteristic. I think you know what uncharacteristic is. Yeah,
no, what was it last show where I said team instead of something else? And I was like, I said that word wrong. And, of course, the blogs are like, oh, she's so stupid. She doesn't even know what word she's talking about. No, have you ever – I'm sure none of these cranky old men have never said the wrong word once in their life.
What if it's a cranky young man that's watching that you were driving crazy?
Go make some friends. Go ask a girl on a date. Go touch some grass. Get a hobby, buddy. Get off of a blog and being angry about a girl that you don't know misspeaking. It's very obvious that that was not the word that was supposed to come out of my mouth.
Apparently, I should not be talking football. I should not be talking football with you because you are a girl.
I am a woman.
That is what I've been told.
You need to. I should only be on here to talk about hair and makeup and nothing else.
They did the same thing.
If you have any questions, I can tell you my lip color today. I can tell you which blush color I used. We can get into that as well, since that is all we are good for.
You're
apparently.
Versatile. Let's talk about, before we move on to the Aggies here, Texas looking forward. You said they should be out of playoff craziness down the stretch. Heather Dinich said if Texas beats A&M, she kind of hinted they would have a good shot to be in. I tend to disagree, and I'm going to tell you.
Since OU won, I think that their shot is pretty much gone. Unless OU does something stupid and loses to LSU or something.
Yeah, if OU lost,
love that for them.
If OU lost to LSU or Missouri, I just don't think they're losing to Missouri because I just don't think that freshman. I watched him. I watched Zollers. They won yesterday against Mississippi State. He completed 8 passes. That kid's not beating Oklahoma. And we'll talk about the Sooners.
Weirder things have happened.
We'll talk Sooners in a minute.
They put up 49.
They ran for 300 and almost 400 yards. I just don't see them doing that.
Yeah, OU has a much better run defense.
Now, with that said, let's just assume some things here, and it's dangerous to assume.
I can't make the argument for Texas being in the college football playoff. That was my point with that tweet, is that I don't think it'd be one thing if our 2 losses were to Ohio State and Georgia, and I would have loved to see a bit better of a fourth quarter performance against Georgia. I think you can still maybe overlook it because Georgia's performing at peak levels, and that would be your only SEC loss. But the loss to Florida, I can't make an argument for it. The committee might, because the committee has certain teams they love, and we all know that Texas is played favorites when it comes to a lot of things, which I will admit it's money. But
let me say, the one thing that would get, if I was a Texas fan, that would get me to feeling a lot better about the potential would be an Alabama loss at Auburn, which crazier
that'd
things
be interesting. I mean, anything can happen there.
I think a 9-3 Alabama's out, believe it or not. Like, they went from they could win a favored game against Auburn and play in the SEC title game and win it and be a number 2 overall seed, or they can lose next Saturday and be out. So, but without that, barring a major upset, Notre Dame's going to be in. Okay, everybody's rooting for Pitt to beat them. It wasn't close. Notre Dame's in. ACC team in. Big 12 team in. And that's not even if BYU beats Tech, because then Tech's going to stay in also. So that would be 2. 1 ACC, 1 Big 12, Notre Dame. You're going to have a group of 5. So now you're at 4, okay? So Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. You're at 8. I mean, I'm sorry. I said you're at 5. You were at 4. You're at 7. I literally can't count on my fingers. We just proved that I can't count.
I can't speak. He can't count. So I expect y'all to comment on that in the boards as well.
So we're at 7, and let's just say 5 SEC teams, which is what I predicted all along. You're at 5. Well,
the SEC haters are going to be so mad.
And let's name them. Ole Miss a lock, A&M a lock, Georgia a lock. And now we're saying if teams don't get dramatically upset, Bama's going to be in, and then probably Oklahoma. And so that Oklahoma game was such a killer, because if Texas were to beat A&M and be 9-3 and Oklahoma's 10-2, you're going, well, we beat them. But the part of the problem with that 21-point first quarter, I think it led, you're looking at the AP poll and the coaches poll, I don't know. That one certainly led to y'all dropping more than, and enough that I don't think the win gets you back up in there and close enough to OU to get that nod.
Can you imagine the outrage if it did, if they picked Texas over OU and OU had
2 losses? And look,
2 losses.
I know Texas beat them, and that's what makes it an argument. But when OU's got a win over a Michigan team that's still contending and on the road at Bama, I just don't think it's happening for Texas, barring chaos, which you never know. But anyway, that was a devastating fourth quarter. You got Arkansas this week. We want to talk so much about A&M and Arkansas. I mean, A&M and Texas, but
we can't overlook it. You can't overlook
that
any game in this league.
Are you at all concerned? Because they seem to play everyone close, but they just always lose.
I mean, I don't think you can ever. I said this. I think I can't. Yeah, they've played everyone within a score except for Notre Dame. That's wonderful. I'm never not worried about games anymore. If it's UTEP, I'm probably a little worried at this point. I don't know. I'm just probably sweating whenever it is. I'd like to see a little bit more of a hyper focus on Arkansas rather than just looking forward to A&M, because it's not a team that's going to go down without a fight. Arkansas does. I mean, no team likes Texas. I feel like you get the best team of the other team every single week, except I don't think we got OU's best team. That is the one team that I feel like always risks overlooking Texas, is because it's a rivalry game. Most other schools that Texas doesn't play every single year, it's Texas. You want to beat Texas.
For sure.
You always want to beat Texas. But OU, we play them every year, and OU has this year, I think, massively overlooked Texas.
South Carolina wanted to beat A&M. Shane Beamer.
Don't say.
Shane Beamer, for whatever reason, seems to, he's the guy that just he needs positive affirmation, it feels like, from his peers, not friends, but his peer group, like his fellow coaches and the college football in general, half the time it doesn't feel like he's doing that like as a fight for his team and his kids, his players. It feels like he's doing it for
Selfishly?
feeling inadequate and feeling the need to get that praise and selfishly, yeah. Because, like, this guy at halftime or at the end of the first quarter when they're up 17-3, to repeatedly bring up that, and point and go, we beat these guys by 24 points last year. Like, this shouldn't surprise it.
Those were some strange comments in like that.
And then he starts doing.
It's like that was a different team last year. You have a different team this year. A&M had a different team last year.
And he starts doing the. Have you seen the GIF? Have you seen him running off the
what's
field?
also funny to me is juxtapose that with Texas and Georgia and Kirby and Sark's narrative going into the game this year. Both when they're asked, like, is there like resentment coming to this game? You don't want to, like, do they remember? And Sark's like, no, that was a different team last year. This is a different team this year. Kirby said the same thing. That I'd rather my team have that mindset of like this team, like Kirby said, this team did not beat Texas.
Yeah, I love that.
Team last year beat Texas.
So
I would much rather have my coach have that mindset than like we beat them by 20 whatever last. No, you didn't beat them by that much last year.
He's just doing it.
You have a different team this year.
He's doing it in game where it's like, man,
3 wins and you're saying that's the narrative.
You're too worried about, like, what do you want credit for that? Like, worry about finishing the game. And for him to go in there like a raptor into the halftime, throwing his hands up, I thought that was like a AI with the way he was
trying to hype the A&M crowd. Like, what was he doing?
It was the South Carolina fans, but he's running in like you would have thought the game was over, and maybe they thought that, but that was a ridiculous display. And I think the South Carolina fans are so fed up with this dude because of antics like that and then not finishing the job.
The worst, I think the second he went for it on a 4th down instead of kicking a field goal, I was like, this is over. It's done. And I don't think y'all had even scored yet.
I think it was 30-10 at the time.
Yeah, or maybe you had scored. I was like, the second he did that, I was like, this is over. If he's going to go into his Sark pride of going for it instead of kicking a field goal, it's done.
And he had a timeout to kind of rethink it too. That field goal would have, it's one thing to be down. They were down 20 to where 3 touchdowns gives you lead. Then all of a sudden you kick a field goal. Now you have to start working on like those 2-point convert. It makes it so much harder. The comeback, Amanda, I'll tell you this. I've sat down there for 2 of the most incredible comebacks in college football history. You probably can't think of the other one, and when I say it, you will, because I'm sure you were really enjoying yourself that night. It was A&M playing at the Rose Bowl against UCLA in the season opener, Coach Sumlin's last year, and the Aggies blew a 44 to set. They were up 44-17 midway through the third quarter. This was very similar. It's amazing that I've sat on both sides of one of those type upsets, and this one yesterday was absolutely one for the book. We're going to talk in a minute about what in the hell happened in that first half because you can't gloss over it. Yeah. But the real story is it was the biggest comeback in program history. You kept your perfect season alive. You clinched a playoff berth. You did get revenge. Now you're 3-0 against the 4 teams that beat you in the regular season last year. You did want that. And look, you took a massive step towards playing in the Southeastern Conference title game for the first time in 14 years. So it was an incredible afternoon at Kyle Field. In that second half, it took perfection on offense and defense. And I think in the case of Marcel Reed, I think, you look around the country today and it sparked quite a bit of debate. It's fun debate. Is Marcel Reed the Heisman favorite now with a couple weeks to go? And you have some people saying yes. You have some people saying, I don't want to give Heisman credit when the guy played bad in the first half against a not good team and then did what he was supposed to do in the second. Well, then you better have kept that same energy for our
Diego
boy,
Pavia.
Heisman Mendoza. No, Heisman Mendoza.
And Diego Pavia.
And Pavia.
Diego Pavia played like crap against Texas.
And like Mendoza, and they lost that one though. But Mendoza brought them back against a bad Penn State team because he played like crap for 3 quarters. Plus, Marcel played bad for a half with his whole team. In the second half, it wasn't one brilliant drive. It was one brilliant drive after another. The dude threw for, what did he have? I think he had 260-something yards of offense. 300 yards of offense in the second half alone and finished the game. So here's his, to me, Atwell, this is a Heisman resume if I'm presenting it. You know, there's no one that stands out, and that helps here. Marcel Reed had 450-plus yards of total offense, 3 touchdowns, and he had the 2 picks. He led his team on a 30 to 3 down to win a football game with a brilliant second half. He won in South Bend with a 400-yard night, throwing the game-winning touchdown with 13 seconds left against a team that's back in the top 10 and had staying power. And then that show he put on in Baton Rouge against a ranked LSU team in Death Valley at night. Like, to me, his Heisman resume looks better than anyone so far. Now, you want to win it, you probably have to go win in Austin. You might not have to light it up, but you need to go win in Austin, bring your team to Atlanta, and maybe you have to win the SEC title to finally convince people that, hey, the Heisman Trophy should come back to A&M for the first time since 2012.
I mean,
I do think he clinched his ticket to New York this weekend.
I think he definitely clinched his ticket. If you're just obviously you have to look at the entire breadth of work and just not one half. And you need to give that credit to Mendoza as well. You gotta look at the entire breadth of work and not just one bad game against a bad team. Mm-hmm. If you're looking at stats, though, Mendoza does have him beat out a good bit in the touchdown interception category. Mm-hmm. I'm just looking directly at stats. I have not watched enough Indiana football to really compare the two. So
no.
I do think even though A&M got very lucky with a very weak SEC schedule this year, I do think that's probably a stronger schedule than what Indiana has on their resume. So
I would agree with both of those statements, believe it or not. See, this is growth.
You can't deny. Like, I mean, coming into the season, obviously A&M's schedule looked decent. You had LSU and Death Valley, you had South Carolina.
The killers were LSU not being a top 10 team, and I don't think LSU just sucks. But they're not a top 10 team, and they're barely
not even close.
No, and they need and Florida and Auburn to me are the two that actually have stunk to the point that has really affected that with that.
Oh, I did not see that they actually scraped it out against Arkansas. That's good for y'all.
Yeah, LSU
they did scrape it out against Arkansas.
They did scrape it out. LSU's not good. Like, let's be real. But yeah, no, I you know what I'm not doing anymore is apologizing for it. Like you said a couple weeks ago, like, hey, it is what it is. Look, it might keep A&M from the 2 seed over, against an Indiana.
That's okay.
It might keep. I don't think it'll keep them from the 2 if they win out. But I'm watching people talk about it though, and our buddy Brandon Walker was harping on it, and some of the Barstool people
all over Twitter.
And I'm like, that's what he is. That's what he does. I did say Hannah Montoya and Annika were here at the game, and
every time you say her name, I think you're going to say Hannah Montana.
Yeah, exactly. But I've said they did what I call the reverse Brandon Walker, in that we might have needed their presence to get that 1-point win. They came to the game and they brought the good energy, and they didn't, have the epic collapse. The team they were rooting for won it. So I think people are going to talk about that.
That Brandon Walker epic collapse against Texas was probably some of the best social media I've ever seen in my life. Honestly,
it was incredible, and they're going to talk about A&M's schedule, and we have reached the point that you were on my ass about last year, which is it just doesn't matter, because now Missouri's back in the rankings. No one's talking about that. They're 7-3. They'll probably be an 8-4 team, I bet, before it's said and done. Missouri's back in the rankings. Notre Dame's in the top 10, and now it doesn't matter because now you play the Texas Longhorns in Austin. So
you need us to beat Arkansas.
Yeah,
you need us.
I think that's a good point. You do. So you go in there and do that. Then you'll be playing in an SEC title game, just like Texas did last year against Georgia, and then you go to the playoff. So schedule stuff's over. When you're 11-0, it could have hurt.
I'm clipping this and saving it for the next time Texas has a relatively light SEC schedule, which I think is going to be a much smaller chance considering we're going to a 9-game SEC schedule. But I'm just going to clip this and save this for later because, boy, this is different than what you were spewing all year last. Like, anytime Texas being successful last year was brought up, I think your commentary on, well, they got handed the lightest schedule in the SEC got brought up.
Wait.
It's like, oh, are you saying it's a light schedule because you're on it or what?
Listen, dude, I keep saying it.
This is personal growth, so we're going to give Billy some applause here.
Yeah.
Personal growth.
I was about to say, like,
snaps for Billy.
Don't do snaps. I've already been. I was on TikTok doing a TikTok dance this weekend. I'm not doing rounds of applause and snaps now too.
Personal growth is something to be applauded.
Yes, it is. So look, it doesn't matter anymore. What matters is by winning that game Saturday. If you'd have lost it, that's when people could have held the schedule. It could have really hurt you because you would run if you had lost that and Texas and been 10-2, losing your last two, and you're in a battle with these teams to get in. At this point, it doesn't matter. Win out, you're a top 4 seed. Lose a game, you're not, but you're going to be hosting a playoff game. I think it's that simple.
Really funny to me is I remember exactly where I was when I was making the argument to you for why. Like, yes, the teams that are handed weak schedules, you get the schedule you get, you just have to win. You just win, and you win when it matters. I was in the Kansas City airport sending off this novel to you and all you could respond was, okay.
Yeah, I remember that. That was rough.
I can't even argue with any of that. I was like, that's what I thought, and now you're preaching the word, so... It's like I'm out here spreading good word of
there's
common sense.
There's a narrative out there, and you know it because we laugh about it, but you know it and you're proud of it. There's a narrative out there that you have softened me up with this year-long onslaught. But guess what? I disagree with that narrative, and I think what I'm going to talk about right now, along those lines, is that. This thing do what?
We're not done talking about A&M. You're not just going to glaze over that first half like it was nothing.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Here's what I will say on the good side, and then we'll go to the bad side. Wrapping up that, what they did Saturday is really interesting for the people that want to be like kind of shooting holes in A&M's. They're not doing it to the resume. They're really doing it and it's fair. You're trying to see if this team can win a national title. So all these people on the outside covering college football, when they talk about A&M, they go, okay, can they win it? Now, I'll tell you this. These same people, it is getting ridiculous that they will not apply that to Indiana or Texas Tech. It is weird to me. They are not applying that to these two teams, but they're doing it to A&M, and it's fine. But here's what I would say. If you had me talk to those type people, my thing would be, man, when this team is at its best, they are nasty, nasty good. And I'll give you a couple of examples because Saturday was an example of what I'm talking about. 28-0 in the second half, scored touchdowns on 4 straight possessions. I think they gained about 350 yards in a half of football. And the defense didn't give up anything. So we'll get to it. As bad as they were giving up 30 in the first, they gave up 0 in the second half. So here you go. 28-0 run against South Carolina. Down 3-0 before halftime to Mississippi State. 31-0 run. In Baton Rouge, down 4 at halftime. 35-0 run. And then Florida was a game, I think they allowed Florida to score on their first 2 possessions. 3 the rest of the game. Outscored them, I think, the rest of the game 24-3. So there are moments, not moments, but like extended stretches where this team is like playing where you go, you don't want to catch them when they're doing that. So that was interesting, but we'll lead into it here, because if you didn't walk away from that game going, okay, we do have to talk about that first half, because you were down 30-3.
What if that was Georgia you were playing?
Yeah, because you will be. You will be playing top 10 teams.
Shane Beamer's not Georgia. Shane Beamer's not Kirby Smart.
Yep. You will be playing
You
top
do
10
that against
teams.
a Georgia team, they're going to put their heel into your throat, and they are not going to let up.
I don't know if I guess they do technically have heels. I thought you meant like a heel, like a high heel. I'm like, I don't know, man.
No, like a foot into your throat. They're not gonna. They're not gonna let you breathe.
Kirby does that. I don't know if Kirby's into that, but yeah, you're right. You're right. They're not letting up. You're not erasing a deficit against.
I'll use the terminology that my coaches when I played soccer would say. They will turn the light off at the end of the tunnel. They will make it to where you do not think you can see daylight. Yeah. And South Carolina is different to where it's a bad team. You know you can come back, and you know what I mean. The biggest narrative I've seen a lot coming out of this game is it was an amazing comeback. It's a Heisman caliber performance in the second half, like best comeback we've seen all season. We've seen comebacks like this season. The narrative was our conversation after a similar comeback earlier this season was a whole heck of a lot different than the conversation we just had right now.
Yes.
Because you know how many points were scored Texas, Mississippi State for Texas to come back in that game?
17.
In the fourth quarter?
17. 24.
31.
Oh, well, yeah, fourth in overtime.
With the overtime.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter and overtime, there were 31 points scored by Texas to come back in that game. And the narrative was, this team had to have a insane magical comeback to be somewhat good and to keep their season alive, which if Texas didn't have the Florida game under their belt, the narrative would have been a lot different. Texas had won that Florida game. I think the narrative was a lot different, but at the same time, that was on the road, and the game it wasn't a night game, but it ended up being at night because it got dark. It was a much different environment than a home environment. That's a very nice, great environment for your home team to play in. Yeah. So not saying that it was a great comeback. It was one that shows that it's a bend, not break team, that they're not going to let themselves lose in that manner. But at the same time, you can't overlook that first half, because if you're playing a team that is better and you're playing Texas at home, and Texas has that crowd behind them, Texas has that momentum, that result's not going to be the same. No,
they need 4 full quarters, and you're not wrong. Here's the thing. I think,
not saying that everything's going to go wrong for A&M again. I think
that was a fluke.
That was every single thing that could possibly go wrong. That dink off of I laughed out loud when that happened, not out of just like, ha, A&M, of just like.
Yeah, I almost laughed. I was like, you can't be.
If I was an Aggie, I would have laughed.
Yeah.
So it's like that, of course that would happen. Everything that goes wrong could go wrong, went wrong in that first half.
But you're right. Okay, there you go. But I think rather so you can say it was just a terrible first half, they can never do that again. I think what you look at more is like, what is a more lingering characteristic? Because they haven't played a half of football like that all year.
How do you think South Carolina got A&M off kilter in that way? Because there was something they did that got A&M off kilter, and if another team does that to A&M, they can't let it get to the. Marcel was in his head. There was something.
So two things.
The receivers were in their head. Something was off.
So 2 things. Like Marcel in his head, I think that's more of. Do you go back and watch the tape? Did South Carolina, coverage-wise or with the pressures, were they doing things he wasn't expecting? A lot of times after a bye week, you can get some of that, but it usually doesn't last a whole half. It's usually a couple of drives. But, again, you talked about the drops, and there was a lot going on there. I'm not worried about that part. Here's what I am. A&M couldn't run the football, really. I don't know if it would have looked like Mizzou, where they couldn't run in the first half, and then in the second half they blew it open, because in this second half they couldn't run it. They didn't have time to run it. They had to throw it, and that was what was working. So it's a little misleading, but I put a little asterisk by that because you're going to Austin to play Texas in a couple weeks. And that run defense, like you said, it's more the secondary than it is the front seven. So you're going to get tested there in that regard. My other concern was going to be this, because like Marcel's played good all year. Receivers have played tremendous all year. Offensive line's been unbelievable all year. Running game's been unbelievable. Run defense and lulls defensively have been a thing. So for as great as they were in the second half.
Lulls defensively is a good way to put it, because I think Texas has struggled with the same thing as like lull. Like defense has been great, but then there's a lull where it's not so great. And I think that's a good way to put it.
And this was a 30-minute lull. Now, they didn't give up 30 in the first half to South Carolina. They gave up 23 because the offense gave up 7. But still, you're on pace to give up 40-plus, which you did to Arkansas, which you did to a great Notre Dame offense. And it is now 3 times this year where an opposing team has really cut up your defense over, half a game, full game. And a lot of it starts, man, of 2 things. Mobile quarterbacks. If I see one of those, A&M's going to face, it's a concern. And then the second thing was
facing one of those in Austin.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to see him. This is what you try to do, like get me to. But I think
I'm just, you got to be aware you are facing one of those in Austin. Arch is best when he's best throwing the ball when he's on the run. Yeah, that's just how he's been. But like
Sellers and Taylon Green, I think they're more runners than they are passers.
I think they're trying to prevent Arch from being as much of a runner as he had to be initially.
Yeah, they should.
Because when he's getting clocked, constantly getting tackled. Like, I think after he got his concussion, they've tried to hold him back a little bit more from running the football quite as much because you can't have him getting clocked on every other play.
Yeah, so, that the run defense, though, is where it kind of starts. And they give up some big plays. But I think it comes off of when teams come out and start running on them early, it feels like it starts to fall apart for this defense. Now, they have course corrected in game in most of these instances.
Elko did an amazing course correction somehow, some way.
Yeah, but like you said earlier, that leads to you digging a hole that you can't get out of. So it is something to watch. It is a concern. There is no way any Aggie, like yesterday, I didn't give 2 shits about it, right? You're walking around celebrating, enjoying the win with your friends.
The next morning, you're just kind of like, I'm happy that was a win, but that didn't feel as great as our other wins this season.
Yeah, we sit here on a Sunday, and I rewatch the first half, and it's just amazing to think that football team won that game. And so I can't wait to get home and watch the second half. But
I feel like I can compare it to, I felt great after the OU win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Happy we won after Kentucky and Mississippi State. Not quite the same feeling.
The reason I'm so happy about it today, though, is you did avoid the final true landmine before the Texas game, and you did punch your ticket.
You avoided the FERC coaster, too.
And and you laughed, and I'm going to find it. It's kind of unfair, but it's too fun not to share.
I laughed when I said y'all would make the playoff.
And I know. And
you already brought that up again once when it looked like you were making the playoff.
But now we did. But maybe I'll just wait till the announcement. But the fairness, there's a fair statement here, which is, I know you were laughing at it was my delivery, but it was your delivery.
Because you were scared to say it.
I threw it in. I was like,
I think A&M's going to make the college football playoff.
And by the way, I had them making it at 9-3, so that should give your Longhorns hope if that ends up being.
That's why I left. So if you get your clip out of it, okay.
But if I get my clip out of it, I'm gonna say the truth. I'm not gonna be misleading about it because it's not fair to my co-host.
Because you looked like you were a puppy that was about to be kicked.
Yeah, I was, because I was like, this is not gonna go well. But I had them getting in at 9-3.
And when you said 9-3, I was like that, because my thing was like Alabama was left out at 9-3 last year. There were plenty of teams that were left out at 9-3 last year. So I would think if they're making it, they would need to be at least 10-2, but you don't got that problem now.
You didn't want me. I didn't want to predict the 10-2, and I was wrong. Here we go.
You're wrong about that one.
Let's talk about. You said feel free to preview your highly anticipated matchup against Samford. I will say this.
Have you watched any highlights on Samford? Anything to tell us about this team?
No, but I will say this. We do have a basketball coach who was from Samford, but I will say this. I think the only comment I'd have on that game is two things. Number one, A&M's going to have a lot of guys, I think, banged up. I don't think it's
basically an off week.
Yeah, I don't think it's an injury situation in terms of
just start your backup quarterback for shits and giggles.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be a thing. For Texas, I think all the injuries are minor, and it's a perfect time for it. But they had a lot of guys get banged up in that game. A lot of Craver was in and out. We mentioned Ashton Bethel Roman.
You okay over there?
Timeout. I need my.
Get him a water. Get him a water.
All right. Ashton Bethel Roman banged up. You had, a couple guys miss. So they need the week. Sark doesn't like that. He made that clear this week. Here's what I said.
Yeah, that's interesting to me. I don't know if I love that.
He said some things this year, man, I haven't loved. And one of them was.
No, I agree.
There's some things
where I'm just like, can you just keep your mouth shut?
The reporter about being on the toilet. That one was weird. Yeah. Then he had the thing about all these other teams that wouldn't have won at Florida in the swamp right after South Florida had beat them. Yeah. And now this one, look.
It sounds like he's making excuses, which is a part I don't like.
Yeah, and premature excuses. And I don't like it because of this, too. Texas, your team, this is not bad, benefited. He doesn't want to have this late non-conference game for, the opponents, and I get it. But he's, complaining that all theirs were early. That was perfect for you guys to come together as a team. I thought you needed that at that time of year. You were struggling with UTEP. San Jose State didn't blow them out. You're lucky that you didn't have an SEC game early on because I think you'd have been at high risk of losing it. You figured a lot out. So, we're back and Nacho's back. What's up, Nacho? The little old man, him and Griffin, the old man. So, and don't say me. All right. Let's jump ahead here. We'll jump from the Samford game. We won't put much preview into this one.
Preview there.
We're going to jump ahead and talk SEC, make our predictions for this week. The Pick'em contest just keeps getting more and more tight and interesting.
Well, it's gotten tight again since he kind of got blown out the last couple. Well, not blown out, but you got beat the last couple weeks, so it got a little lopsided there. But now we're getting back to even playing ground. Yeah,
listen,
the overall score is not blown out. I'm saying it got to the point where if I win another week, this is going to be out of reach.
Yeah, it was 6-3. If you'd have gone up 7-3, that would have been it. So now we're at 6-4-2, so that's getting close. And then it is crazy. I said it last week, but I was wrong. We had our friends at the accounting firm recount the picks. And
I need your producers to count this instead of you because I don't trust your count anymore.
I didn't.
Billy won the week. Actually, just kidding. Billy did not win the week.
Yeah, we tied last week. I won this week. This was my first win in 6 weeks, so I'm happy right now.
That is worse than I thought.
Yeah,
is that your first win since I went to France?
Yes.
Has it been that long?
Yeah. We tied a couple times in there though.
You want to pay for another European vacation for me, just so you
so I could win picks? Yeah, that'd be worth it for me.
Amanda's in Italy because I wanted to win the picks this week.
No, I think the picks. Look, we're tied overall, and now I'm only 2 behind. So I want to win this thing. I really do. So we're gonna do that here in a second.
I think you have a better chance with your football team than winning.
Me.
Than you winning the picks. But I think if that's a trade-off you have to make, I think that's a trade-off you'll make.
I was about to say, in some weird way, that felt like something I feel good about. I was a compliment. All right, let's roll into the SEC real quick. We are wrong. We do admit.
We're wrong.
You and I both, we will admit when we're wrong.
Yeah.
And we were both wrong.
We're not happy about it, but we were wrong.
Yes, we were both wrong about Oklahoma being cooked. As you said, and I agreed with, and we went on this thing about why, and I believed it. And credit Brent Venables and credit the Sooners because
that was an insane win. That was a quality win for them.
They went on the road. They went on the road and won in Knoxville at Neyland Stadium, and they went and won at Bama. And these guys have come into the SEC and Kalen DeBoer, you are 0-2 against Brent Venables and OU. Bama's got an Oklahoma Sooner problem.
You saw the circle I showed you of OU can't beat Texas. Texas can't beat Georgia. Georgia can't beat Alabama. Alabama can't beat OU. And you just keep going in circles.
So OU is very much in the thick of the playoff hunt. I think they're going to be in now. I think it was done. Yeah. I think when they lost, it was done.
I'd love for a stupid upset against LSU or Mizzou. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, honestly. They lost. They didn't score a touchdown against us, but I guess. And a lot of their fans are like, "Oh, it's because John Mateer was still injured." But John Mateer himself said it wasn't because of the injury.
It wasn't.
I think Sark just drew up the best game plan he has all year, and I guess we're only playing for OU and maybe A&M. We love our rivals. We love to play up to those games.
That's true. Hopefully that does not happen. It was a rough game on the rivalry front for you guys yesterday. It was like that, like you said earlier at the start of the show.
This is the worst day of college football ever.
It was like the triangle of doom for y'all. Listen,
you've had your triangle of doom days, I'm sure.
I have.
We all have our triangle of doom days.
It's not a triangle. It's a square. I've got LSU, Texas, Oklahoma, and you to deal with. So
y'all don't hate Oklahoma as much as we hate.
We don't care. We don't care about.
So I think yours is LSU, Texas.
What about an A&M OU playoff game? That would be interesting.
I would root for A&M. I'm not, and I'm sure maybe that'll make me some friends in this podcast that hate listen, but I would fully root for A&M in that game.
Listen.
I would also root for a meteor strike, but you can't have both.
Like, if that's in the Cotton Bowl, you're just like, hey, I'm magically leaving Dallas this weekend with my cats and everyone.
I would root for a civil war on the field.
So here's the deal. I've had concerns about Bama for weeks, and you've known this really all year.
Except for when you pick them to be your preseason favorite to win the SEC.
You're a piece of
I'm going to bring that up every time.
You're a piece of work. And, I did. And guess what? I might be right, but I don't think I'm going to. I don't like that team. I don't like a football team that is not good on the O-line and can't run the football. And especially,
so you don't like Texas?
Yes. And especially, Amanda, when the best thing you've got is Ty Simpson and your wide receiving core, but if you're living and down in distance, it makes their job infinitely harder. So I think this is a team that's not constructed.
A&M, or it's not A&M, is Alabama the same as Texas in that capacity? Because it certainly feels like it. I mean, the run game has been non-existent for Texas this year, and that has been one of you saw it a little bit at Vanderbilt, but it's been one of the biggest issues. And it's Alabama finally.
They're like Texas light. Like it's the other way around. Their receivers are better to me. Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams. Ty Simpson's had a better year than Arch. Arch is getting better and better and better.
I think I am very optimistic for what Arch will be next season.
I agree.
I think he will grow. We've watched him grow under our eyes. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I wish that's what media set him up to do, is to watch him grow. Because you can say he's been in this program for 3 years. Sure. He hasn't been a starting quarterback at an SEC school for 3 years. And that's just a lot different than, are you okay over there?
I just leaned out to say, don't get into a big debate with Amanda tonight about this. Because why get her started? Why let her get her clip this week? Why go into this losing argument? But I can't help myself but to say one thing, and then you can not respond if you don't want to. I don't think it was just the media that did that. I thought it was a lot of people that cover and promote.
Fans. It was everybody.
Yeah, he's doing what I thought he would do.
I've said the same thing to you. Yeah. If this was Arch Manning, the Texas A&M Aggie, you'd be doing the exact same thing. And do not tell me you would not be. And do not tell me your fan base would not be. Because you've done this for quarterbacks many a time. And I'm not saying you're wrong for doing it, because you want your quarterback to be the next big thing, especially if he has a big, great name behind him. And you secure the best. You want him to be that next big thing. And it sucks when he has some growing pains.
Yeah.
So You would do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think you would admit that you would do the same thing.
I will admit that. But what all I'm saying, and see, I got you going for no reason here because I agree. So we're like, it's like we're arguing, but we're not. We're saying the same thing. My thing is,
we're arguing, but we agree.
I just said all along going into the season that I thought it was going to be looking like this. I didn't think Texas would have 3 losses by now, but I thought the arch progression was going to look like this. And anyone that said that,
I think it would start out as bad, but I think the O-line contributed it to starting out as bad as it did.
True.
I think if he was more confident in his protection, he would have started out. He would have been rocky, but I don't think it would have looked as ugly as it did. So.
Yeah, we agree. We actually agree on this. That's pretty funny that we've just proved that we can argue on something we agree about. That was actually strong. Credit.
Yeah.
Dap me up over here. Boom.
Dap up.
I said a Georgia SEC title game would really be probably a pretty fun game to watch right now. I think they're clearly the 2 best teams in the SEC. Yeah. No offense to Ole Miss. I don't think there's just something about them that I don't completely trust. But I don't think we're going to get Georgia A&M just because of the way it's set up.
I would love to get Georgia A&M because I would love to y'all to suffer to Kirby's wrath as we have for the last 2 years.
Hey, I ain't scared of Curb.
You think you're not, and then you play him.
I know.
It's one that'll have your nerves up going into that game. You say you're not afraid of it, but your nerves will be up here going into that game.
I would love to see the Aggies get that shot if they go to the title game against Bama or Georgia. Like I just want
Atlanta again.
Yeah, every year.
Okay.
If you're gonna
Best of luck.
If you're gonna get
home
in,
game.
Yeah, true. But if you're gonna get there, I want to play a blue blood, SEC blue blood. Like just like an SEC powerhouse, and say, let's go. Let's just see where we stand. And look, they're a Texas.
I just Nacho's next to me, and he's playing. I don't mean to cut you off. He's playing with a large carrot and a little mini cat toy that looks like
a carrot toy.
Like I'll just show it to you so you can see what it looks like. It's called Meowiwana.
Oh God.
And it's full of catnip. So he's playing with that and a large carrot right now.
It's a pretty good toy. He might need a good nap after that, actually, or just some more food. All right, let's get this wrapped up here. Missouri, impressive bounce back again. Like, I give them credit. They're playing essentially without a quarterback. Albert Hardy goes for 300 yards.
That's respectable to 49 points, whether you got it on the run or passing.
He's had
for a backup quarterback.
Incredible year. He's a first-team All-American. Drinkwitz does a good job there. I wonder if he'll be there after this year. With that in mind, Shane Beamer, I talked about his halftime. I wonder if he's going to be out. We've been focusing on Mark Stoops. It looks like he saved his job.
Well, the thing is, if you get rid of him, who are you hiring at this point?
Well, here's the other question. Who's Florida hiring? Because it sure as hell sounds like Lane Kiffin. The Ole Miss fans, they're almost like, they're so conflicted right now.
What if Florida had won that game?
They are so sick of Lane Kiffin's antics right now, but yet he's got them in the top 5.
Lane Kiffin cracks me up.
And they all think he's leaving. They're fully convinced he's already taken the Florida job. There are rumors that he's going to announce that he's taking it and then coach Ole Miss in the play. It is so wild to watch and go, that's a top 5 team right now with a really good quarterback and obviously a head coach that could get it done. So they're the most fascinating SEC team right now because there's all this inner turmoil going on.
I will say I'm excited for the reworking of SEC opponents because that means Texas gets to start playing Ole Miss because that is the one. Yeah. I have not gone on the road to an SEC game yet. Mm-hmm. That is high on my list of a place I want to go on the road and tailgate at.
Oxford's great.
And then next year, I'll be at the A&M game next year. I promise. I'll finally come to. Well, I should have gone last year. I had free tickets. Didn't come. Should have come.
Should have come. You would have actually. If you would have come though, you wouldn't have been able to fire off 20 of my old tweets right after the game. So you would have missed that
service.
You'd have missed that opportunity. I didn't have service, and I got home, and that was wherever I got to, and I was like, oh my God.
You're like,
boom, 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 boom. Why are all my mentions? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, here we go.
Just turn off the phone and open it.
And speaking of, we hit all this stuff now. Everything else I've got down, we've talked about. So speaking of Twitter and antics, moving goalposts this week. Not retweet or delete, but a moving goalpost that you have been wanting to point out.
We mentioned it. Your narrative about this great comeback victory, greatest comeback in, what is it, SEC history? I don't know what you said it was, against a 3-6 South Carolina team at home, while you effectively clown Texas for a comeback win on the road against a 5-6 Mississippi State on the road.
Yeah, we tackled that one.
That's a moving goalpost if I've ever seen one. I think we are both above of the opinion that we can agree an SEC win is an SEC win. Anybody can win in this league on any given day. Good wins all around. But yeah, maybe let's think about that clowning of an opponent when they beat a team on the road when it had to get overtime to do it.
Well, and I think you talked about also the close games too. Not
close
just
games.
The team.
I'd say that was a close game if I've ever seen one.
Well, the teams too. It's Arkansas. It's South Carolina
is worse than Mississippi State.
It's Arkansas, South Carolina, and Auburn were three close games. But you know what, Amanda? They won. They won them.
Winning is all that matters. So I want you to hold that same energy that winning is all that matters when it comes to your team and when it comes to that team in Austin and Burnt Orange that you don't like so much.
You said, what if A&M wins a close game against Texas? Would that be, if Texas finished 8-4, would that be a close game against a bad SEC team?
That'd be a close game against your rival. I mean, you can call them a bad SEC team. It's not a 3-7 South Carolina team.
No, and if if A&M went and played,
I don't say Texas's win against A&M last year was a win over a bad A&M team because I don't think it was a bad A&M team.
That's true.
I don't think A&M played poorly. I don't think that A&M could have won that game had they have done a couple things differently.
Yeah,
that has never been my narrative about that win. I think that one was a great win over a quality opponent that just happened to be unranked after Texas beat them.
You think, I just hate, I mean, when you make a good point, sometimes I just want, but you think, if
A&M beats Texas on the road at the end of this season, that is a great win.
I agree. No, it is.
That's a great win.
But you seem to be, I think you're encouraged a little bit, not forget what Texas did in Georgia. You're encouraged by what A&M looked like in that first half. It gives you a little more.
I'm not encouraged by anything. I know what Texas can do to mess stuff up really quickly.
But does that give you hope in that game?
I didn't need that half to have hope in that game.
Well, all right.
It's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in a rivalry game. We saw that with Texas OU.
Yeah, it's fair.
And it's in DKR, scary hours in Austin, Texas. It can be scary one of two ways.
True. That is fair. We will have plenty to talk about on that one coming up. I don't want to
look past that. We got Arkansas at 2:30 p.m. We got the Razorbacks.
I do not want to predict victory in that one too soon. I will not let you.
You did in the text message. I know we're winning in Austin. I know. And I have all the screenshots of all those text every single text message you have said, we're going to win. I don't care. We're going to win. We're going to win.
You tweeted it. So it's out. I mean, I can't walk it back, but I guess. You can walk it back
either way.
I guess here's the deal.
You did the same thing last year when you said, I can't wait until Texas walks into Kyle Field and we upset their perfect season. And look how that ended up for you, Billy.
Shoes on the other foot now, though, isn't it? There's a perfect season.
But you're saying the same thing. I am not saying that we're going to win, that there's no chance that A&M comes in and beats us. I'm not the one putting out here, we're going to win at home.
I don't know whose glasses these are, but how does that look? Oh my God, somebody needs some. Never mind. Look, let's go into these
I'm not
picks.
the one who tweets that out of just like, I can't wait till A&M walks into DKR and we.
I didn't tweet it. I didn't tweet it this year.
You did tweet that last year.
But this year I texted it.
I bet you tweeted it now.
Now it's out. So it's fine. I got to roll with it now. Spoiler alert: I'm going to pick A&M next week. But this week, there's no.
Are you really? I never would have guessed.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! I'm picking A&M this week too. Samford. So let's do our picks. That is not
Samford this week. Upset alert.
That is not one of the 10. We left that one off.
We're not picking A&M this week. Dang.
We're both going to pick the Aggies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive into it and
pick up upset of the year.
Let's
upset
dive
of the college football
the century. History. So Hannah Montoya, Montana, went to App State and
she at that game?
Was a student. No, she was a student at App State when it happened, and they rioted on the streets in Boone, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's when I found out where App State was.
Like said, most of their fans weren't even watching the game, but as the third and fourth quarter came around, it's like everybody
people rushed into the stadium.
Yeah, or no, it was the streets of App State, all the bars, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, I literally saw a post on TextEx that said worse than App State, and I showed her, and I said, I'm questioning your energy here. Like, I'm questioning if bringing you into this
to kick her out?
stadium was the move. But, yeah, it ended up working out. So let's start. I don't see App State on here. I don't see A&M. Let's do BYU. Just starting the Big 12. BYU at Cincinnati.
I got BYU.
I like this Cincinnati team. They let me down once. I'm going to go with Cincinnati at home. I think that's a tough environment. I like their QB. I'm going to go with the upset. That's going to guarantee the Big 12's only going to get one, in my opinion.
I do like the Big 12 only getting one, but I'll stick with BYU.
All right, here's the SEC game. Tennessee at Florida. Florida, look.
This one could be interesting.
They played Georgia really close. They played Ole Miss. That was 27.
Tennessee is better. There is worse than both of those teams.
Yeah, it's just I'm going to have a hard time picking. I'm going to go Tennessee. I have a hard time picking the Gators.
I'm picking Florida. I'm doing it.
You're doing it.
Picking an upset.
Okay.
I'm going with an upset.
That's interesting. I like that one. Pitt taking that L to Notre Dame this past week at home at Georgia Tech.
They annoyed me. I needed them to beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, you did. Haynes King and co.
I feel like you're going to pick Georgia Tech.
Actually, I think I'm going to go with an upset here, and I'm going to go Pitt to bounce back from that embarrassment.
I'm going Haynes King and Georgia Tech. Give me the former Aggie.
I hate picking against Haynes, but I'm saving it. I might pick him to upset Georgia. Just a little tease there. Okay, TCU at U of H.
I'm picking Houston.
You don't trust TCU?
I don't trust TCU.
I'm going to do something. I guess I'm picking against all former A&M quarterbacks this week because I'm going to pick TCU with an upset. They've been down. They've been up. They're not very good.
I don't trust my hometown team.
U of H is 8-2 and ranked 25th. Man,
I don't have a Big 12 team because OSU sucks right now, and I like Oklahoma State would be my Big 12 team. And so I've tried to make it TCU at the beginning of the year because I'm from Fort Worth, but
no,
I'm pissed off right now.
All right. Speaking of former A&M quarterbacks, I might go clean sweep here. Kentucky.
How many of them are there in the league?
3 in a row, literally. Kentucky at Vandy and Eli Stowers, the Vandy receiver, tight end.
I got Vandy.
Pavia and Vandy?
Pavia. I don't think they let this one go.
This is going to be one of my picks now that everybody on.
It's going to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, there's going to be comments on Twitter. They're going to be like, Amanda's going to win 7-3 this week. Kentucky's going to upset. They've been playing really good football. Cutter Boley, who I was criticizing you guys for giving up a bunch of yards.
But that close win at Kentucky wasn't all that bad, is what you're trying to say?
Yeah, getting better and better. It wasn't all that bad unless you were trying.
That was a bad game. Texas played terrible that game.
Yeah.
We can just say it.
Thank you. In fairness, you said it during and after too.
No, Texas looked so bad that game.
But Kentucky's gotten better.
No way to win.
I'm going upset. I think Vandy's looking ahead to Tennessee. They were lucky to beat Auburn in overtime last week. I'm going Kentucky in an upset. USC at Oregon. I'm going to go. USC's got a shot to make the playoffs here, but they have to beat the Ducks.
Interesting.
I'm going to go with the Ducks
last week?
Yeah, they beat Iowa. They were down and they came back and beat Iowa. So
I'm going to go with my boy Lincoln Riley. I'm going to pick US.
Oh wow, I'm going the Ducks at home. This one. These two are weird.
Louisville
at SMU. SMU. I don't know. These two teams. Louisville had the had the bad loss. I don't know where I'm going with them. Well, they lost to Clemson. They had a bad one prior. I think I'm going to go with Louisville to bounce back in this one, even though it's on the road. SMU, I feel like they've got me every
Miami.
time. I feel like they've got me every time I've picked against them, and the only time I won for them is when
you picked them over Miami.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm going to go with Louisville. I think they've been. I think people are counting them out. I don't think they're done yet.
I'm going to pick SMU at home.
Okay.
Going to do the upset. I'm rolling with the upsets. I'm like Texas now. We got nothing to lose at this point.
I haven't even checked that line, but Miami at Vatech. I'm going to go with the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I'll do Miami too.
I don't know why we have.
We might as well pick A&M Samford.
Yeah, if Miami loses that one, what a disastrous end of the season for them. Missouri, okay, here's the real tough one to me, or not the real tough one. In the SEC, Mizzou at OU. It's a tough one for you because I think when you look back on this pick'em contest, if you don't win, it's because of your consistent refusal to pick Oklahoma.
I'll pick OU because they've proven me wrong. So maybe me picking them will give them bad luck.
Well, I'm not gonna give you a free win there because I'm gonna pick OU too. They're gonna win at home.
It's not a Rockies environment. It's not a great environment.
I don't think so either. It's weird.
It's mid-bottom of the SEC. It's not loud.
I agree.
I think DKR is the way it's built. It's not built to be as loud as it could be. I feel like they could have built it better to where you got more advantage of the fact that you can pile so many fans in there.
Yeah.
But I think it's better than whatever the hell's in Norman.
Yeah, Owen Field, the Palace, whatever they call it, but
not a palace. It's every time I see a picture of somebody posting in that stadium, I'm like, that looks like Allen High School stadium. Anyways,
but they're going to beat Missouri. We both agree on that.
Yeah, probably.
Arkansas.
Well, I'm picking Texas. You know that much.
I want to pick an upset here. I want to pick Taylor Green.
Please pick them.
Are you asking me? Because I'll do it.
Because a lot of times when you pick against us, most of the time it goes better for us.
Except when it's Georgia.
Except this week. Except when it's Georgia. But they could probably be an anomaly at this point.
I picked y'all to beat Georgia last year on my show, and you guys lost. But I'm going to pick upset city here.
Okay. I might end up jumping off of the South Congress Bridge if that happens next week.
I'm going to watch that and be like, if I can just get a 7-0 Arkansas lead. Arkansas almost beat LSU. They played A&M within 3.
LSU's not good.
Is Texas?
I think we're better than LSU.
I do too, but I don't think it's by a lot. You'll have your hands full with Taylor Green. I don't know if I'm truly committed to this pick, but I'm doing it for us. I'm doing it. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you out, and I'm also I'm trying to beat you in the pick'em this year.
I also think that this team is good when they're mad as hell. Mm-hmm. They were mad as hell after that Florida loss. Came and played OU the next week, and that's
true.
That was the last loss that happened. And you saw what happened the next week against a top 10 team.
Well, so you need a win. I need an off week. We're getting an off week. So hopefully you guys get that win because you need it. I need it. We need two different things right now. But I will be I will be ready to text the dynamic duo over there if y'all are not faring well against Arkansas, like the Aggies.
I'll be ready to block your number.
like the Aggies were doing in the first half this week. But anyway.
No, I just had to send you. I have a friend, I cannot disclose her identity, who went to South Carolina and has a tattoo on her lip
that was your friend.
That's my friend.
Oh, I had no idea.
Of the South Carolina mascot.
Wow.
If you know what the South Carolina mascot is, she has it right here because she was told in college that
the second part of that word.
The second part. Yeah. She was told that it would go away after like a year.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
It's now closing on her 30s. It is still there. She also, unfortunately, had to have an entire jaw reconstruction surgery where every single doctor and dentist that she saw got to see her nice tattoo of that word.
Oh, my gosh. Well...
So it seemed like an opportune moment to send you that picture because it was just.
I saw it and I was like, where did they find
There's
this
the context. That's actually my friend.
I was literally like,
I didn't just like randomly look somebody up with a lip tattoo saying that.
Y'all may have it was funny like the A&M team. We rose from the ashes in the second half, not just the Aggies, but me and that group text. It was like...
You're like, just kidding, we're winning.
I was
in
done.
November. I'm like, you're getting real bold right now. Focus on completing this game.
What did you say? Turn the light at the end. What is it?
Yeah, the light at the end of the tunnel was real dim, and then he pushed it on overdrive. That's what I had. This Irish soccer coach that always say, you have to turn the light off at the end of the tunnel. I can't do an Irish accent. But
that was all you sounded like. Actually, kind of sounded like a leprechaun. Actually, not bad.
Sounded like he had all these cliche sayings that he would do.
You guys had all the cliches. Heels on throat, light at the end of the tunnel was fading, and then all of a sudden, here comes Marcel Reed and the Aggies. So anyway, fun week.
What is the Marcel Reed frog thing?
The frog?
I keep on seeing memes of him with a frog in it. I don't know
if I might
Marcel, like I don't know. Maybe a younger Aggie fan can let me know.
Yeah, I got to ask Luke and them about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I keep on seeing memes of him with like a frog. Maybe I'm misinterpreting all.
Yeah, I need to look at that. But we have time this week. It's Sanford. But I need to let my voice rest this evening. Go enjoy some Sunday night football. Do some writing because we talked a lot this week and we talked a lot tonight, and it was fun. I think we did a really good show. Considering the craziness that was this weekend. Yeah, so enjoyed it, Amanda.
I actually feel better after this. It's almost like a release. It's a release of all my anger. And I mean...
You need that sometimes.
You lost to Georgia on the road. You didn't lose to Kentucky on the road. You didn't lose to Mississippi State on the road. You didn't lose to Arkansas on the road. So at the end of the day, it could have been a whole hell of a lot worse. And you know what? Is what it is.
All right, well, we will talk next week. We will talk... Well, we know what we're going to talk about next week. We might even have a little something special in store.
Next week we need to plan. It is the week. That is a big old week. And we are going to the game. So we'll see you there.
I was with the girls this weekend were vlogging a little bit while on the trip for Barstool. We're going to be at least pre-gaming down there. We might need to do a little I don't know how you do a vlog.
Do a little meet and greet.
Yeah.
We could do a little, maybe at the Fairmont or something. We could do a little meet and greet pregame before we head to the tailgates.
Yeah, and maybe a little vlog of our own. So anyway, looking forward to it. That's what we're going to be talking about next week, regardless.
It's going to be a fun week. I hope I can meet some of the people that watch this show that I have not met that are on the other side of the aisle. And if you are on the other side of the aisle and you're one of those people that are really mean to me in the chats, please don't come meet me. I am not nice to people that are not nice to me in person. So, but yeah, if you're nice and you're cool, please come say hello. We would love to see you.
And she takes boxing classes, so you might catch a right hook if you're not
Among
careful.
Other things, I am from Texas. Do not test me.
Do not disturb. Do not disturb.
Do not disturb. I am from Texas.
All right.
I don't think I have to put any more comments on that one.
All right. I appreciate it. We'll get back next week. We'll talk. I'm Billy.
I'm Amanda.
And we are
Moving Goalposts.
All right. See ya.